You know that moment when the forest seems to hold its breath? It's as if it were watching you, waiting to see what you're going to do. I walked for days through these woods. I like to travel light, carrying only the essentials in my backpack, my tools, my notebooks, and the respect for whoever got here long before me. We get used to carrying so much unnecessary weight in life, but here, nature teaches you to let go. And it was in the middle of this walk, when the sunlight was already starting to go down, and the fog brought that melancholic and sweet smell of damp earth, that I found it. A colossal basidiomycota, a giant mushroom. Most people would walk right past or feel afraid. But when you understand how mycelium works, how it connects every tree, every root, you realize that this mushroom isn't just a fungus. It is the beating heart of this piece of the forest. Its stem, the steep, is wide, dense, almost like an ancient wood, but with a texture that feels like thick velvet. I rested my hand on it and felt an absurd firmness. There, in that silence, I knew. I didn't need to go any further. This silent giant would be my shelter, my home. Before I actually put my hands in the dirt, I need to draw. I sit here on one of these exposed roots, grab my old notebook, and start tracing the lines. I don't want to impose a human architecture here. I want the house to look like it grew organically from inside the mushroom. The first thing that comes to mind is the light. I draw a round window, right in the front. Straight lines and hard angles do not belong in the forest. The roundness follows the shape of the leaves, the dewdrops, the sun itself that filters through the treetops. This window is going to be my private lens, a perfect frame for me to watch the thick morning fog descend upon the valley and watch the heavy rain fall, while I stay inside here, dry and warm. For the bedroom, or rather my resting corner, I imagined a very rustic wooden bunk bed. I'll use fallen branches that the forest itself discards. There is no need to cut down anything alive for my comfort. The bottom part will be my bed, my protected nest, and the top part, well, the top part will be my natural dryer. That's where I'll put my herbs, because a house without plants to me is a soulless place. Just looking at the paper, I can already imagine the smell that will linger inside here. I want to hang bundles of rosemary on the entrance walls. Rosemary cleans the air and keeps insects away, besides having that aroma that awakens the mind. I want small clay pots on the windowsill with calendula and chamomile. Calendula is incredible. The orange petals look like little pieces of the sun trapped in the dirt, and the ointment I make with them is what saves my hands after a whole day of digging holes and dragging firewood. And the valerian roots. Those will be drying over in the corner, where I intend to build the stone fireplace. The smell of valerian is strong, woody, almost wild. But it is the best thing there is to calm the body when the exhaustion of manual labor really hits and the muscles scream for rest. I look at this sketch and already feel the need to prepare some tea. Because making tea, when you live like this, isn't just throwing hot water into a mug. It's a ritual. It's going to the stream to fetch clean water, heating it over the fire you made yourself, and giving life back to the dry leaves. A white willow bark tea, for example, is the aspirin of the forest. It's going to be my salvation for the back pain that I know I'll feel after excavating the entire inside of this giant stipe. Every stroke I make in this project is with the thought of how nature will share this space with me. Plants heal, nourish, and bring color to this earthy tone of the mushroom. This is my way of inhabiting the world. The forest is never just a green and static scenery. For those dedicated to botany, the dense forest is a living archive, full of secrets that only reveal themselves to those with the patience to search. Going out in search of new plants, exotic and different species, is what keeps the mind restless and sharp. The true fascination of finding a rare species in the middle of the woods is not just because of the uncommon beauty it might have, but because of the survival engineering behind it. It is fascinating to try to understand how certain foliage develops such specific textures to capture light in extreme shade environments, or how others developed completely exotic root systems to extract nutrients from difficult soils. Studying unknown plants is like learning a new dialect of nature. Each exotic specimen carries an ancient evolutionary history. The silence of exploration brings immense clarity, and it is in this constant search to understand what is rare and different that the real connection with the earth happens. It is not about cataloging out of vanity. It is about admiring the profound resilience of the wild. You know that moment when the forest seems to hold its breath? It's like it's peeking at you, waiting to see what you're gonna do. I walked for days through these woods. I like to walk light, carrying just the essential in my backpack, my tool, my notebook, and the respect for who got here way before me. We get used to carrying so much unnecessary weight in life, but here nature teaches you to let go. And it was in the middle of this walk, when the sunlight was already starting to lay down, and the fog brought that melancholic and sweet smell of damp earth, that I found him, a colossal Basidiomycota, a giant mushroom. Most folks had walked straight past, or feel scared. But when you understand how the mycelium works, how it connects every tree, every root, you realize this mushroom ain't just a fungus. He's the beating heart of this piece of the forest. His stem is wide, dense, with a texture that feels like thick velvet. I rested my hand on him and felt an absurd firmness. There, in that silence, I knew I didn't need to go no further. This silent giant was going to be my shelter. Before I stick my hand in the dirt for real, I need to draw. I sit here on one of these exposed roots, grab my old notebook and start tracing the line. I don't want to impose no human architecture here. I want the house to look like it grew organically from inside the mushroom. The first thing that comes to mind is the light. I draw a round window, right in the front. Straight line and hard angle don't belong to the forest. The round follows the shape of the leaf, of the dewdrop, of the sun itself that filters through the tree canopy. This window is going to be my private lens. A perfect frame for me to see the thick morning fog go down over the valley and watch the heavy rainfall, while I stay inside here, dry and warm. For my resting corner, I imagined a real rustic wooden bunk bed. I'm gonna use some fallen branch that the forest itself throws away. Ain't no need to cut down nothing alive for my comfort. The bottom part is gonna be my bed, my protected nest. And the top part is gonna be my natural dryer. That's where I'll put my herb. 'Cause a house without plant, to me, is a place without soul. Just looking at the paper, I can already imagine the smell that's gonna stay inside here. I wanna hang some bunch of rosemary on the entrance wall. The rosemary cleans the air and keeps the insect away, besides having that aroma that wakes the mind up. I want some little clay pot on the windowsill with calendula and chamomile. Calendula is incredible. The orange petal looks like some little piece of sun trapped in the dirt. And the ointment I make with them is what saves my hand after a whole day digging hole and dragging firewood. And the valerian root are gonna stay drying right there in the corner, where I plan to build the stone fireplace. The smell of valerian is strong, woody, almost wild. It's the best thing there is to calm the body when the tiredness of manual work hits for real, and the muscle screams for rest. I look at this sketch and already feel the need to prepare a tea. Making tea when you live like this ain't just throwing hot water in a mug. It's a ritual. It's going down to the stream to fetch clean water, heating it on the fire you made yourself, and giving life back to the dry leaf. Every stroke I make in this project is thinking about how nature is going to share this space with me. The plant cures, feeds, and brings color to this earthy tone of the mushroom. The forest is never just a green and still scenery. For whoever dedicates themselves to botany, the thick woods is a living archive, full of secret that only reveals itself to who has the patience to look. Going out hunting for new plant, some exotic and different species, is what keeps the mind restless and sharp. The real fascination of finding a rare species in the middle of the bush ain't just for the weird beauty it might have, but for the survival engineering behind it. It's fascinating trying to understand how certain foliage developed some texture so specific to catch light in some extreme shade environment, or how others created some completely crazy root system to pull nutrient from difficult soil. Studying unknown plant is like learning a new dialect of nature. Each exotic specimen carries an ancient evolutionary history. The silence of this exploration brings an immense clarity, and it's in this constant search to understand what's rare and different that the real connection with the earth happens. It ain't about cataloging out of vanity. It's about admiring the raw resilience of the wildlife. The idea of living inside a giant, don't start with the building itself, but with the unbuilding. Different from finding an empty cave or a hollow trunk waiting to be occupied, the inside of a colossal mushroom is a dense universe. It's solid, full of a tight maze of compressed mycelium, a fibrous and silent meat that holds the weight of the outside world. For me to be able to exist inside here, the emptiness needs to be created from scratch. It's kind of paradoxical. Little by little, ripping piece by piece, taking the matter out millimeter by millimeter, you start to understand the true weight of space. The city folk spends their whole life trying to gather things to fill up their own emptiness. But here, in the heart of the forest, the logic is the opposite. It's the empty space that gives you shelter. It's the lack of matter that lets me breathe. Digging out this inside demands a physical strength that borders exhaustion, but it also demands a deep respect for the organism that's being shaped. There's a weird melancholy in destroying a little part of this structure to be able to live inside it. But botany teaches that nature ain't made of morality. It's made of adaptation and symbiosis. I adapt to him, and he gives me the space. When the sun goes away for good and the dampness of the wood starts weighing on the bone, you understand real quick that making fire ain't no luxury, it's survival. In the forest, fire is the only thing that separates us from the absolute dark. It dries the heavy air inside the mushroom here, scares away the coldness of the dirt, and brings a real primitive safety. It's the heat that gives the soul back to the body after a whole day breaking your back on heavy work. And then, with the fire crackling, botany goes back to being my biggest relief. Grabbing some mint leaf I picked earlier and fixing a tea is a care that the forest herself teaches you to have. There's folk who drink mint just 'cause the smell is nice. But for who lives on the limit of physical effort, this right here is a whole pharmacy. The leaf got a bright green, and when the boiling water hits them, it lets out an essential oil that goes up in a vapor that unclogs even your thought. Mint is a real strong natural antispasmodic. She relaxes all the stomach muscle, calms the breathing, and takes away that tension from the muscle that I wrecked digging out this house all day. It's impressive how nature got the exact cure for the tiredness she herself causes. I sit here on this raw wood bed, take the first sip and let this heat go down. The menthol acts almost right away, clearing the mind up a bit, settling the dust of the day. Out there, the woods breathe in the dark, but in here, with the smell of the mint and the noise of the burning firewood, I find a peace that no city was going to be able to give. It's a life of dirty hand and callous, but at the end of the day, the simplicity of a hot tea fixes any pain.